Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. This episode of Slam the Gavel is sponsored by CPS Protect Consulting Services. A child protective services case is one of the most frightening experiences for any parent. Don't face it alone. Face it with confidence with Urgent Assist by CPS Protect. You can have access to former CPS investigators to make sure you preserve your rights and protect your family. If you're facing CPS involvement and aren't sure where to turn, their child welfare consultants can help you. Visit cpsprotect.com/subscribe and enter the coupon code SLAMTHEGAVEL for 60% off your first year of Urgent Assist. This is available in all 50 states. I have another announcement. Bradley's mother, Narcisse Golden, passed away in the fall of 2022. Bradley is autistic and needs structured and routine therapies. He receives for his autism 6 days a week. However, Italy just entrusted Bradley to Italian social services. If he is ruled to go back, he will then face the next 3 to 4 years in the Italian foster care system, where he can't speak or understand the language. He will then be taken away from the only family he has ever known. Please call Governor Hochul, New York State, 518-474-8390 to please keep Bradley here safe in these United States. That's Governor Hochul, 518-474-8390. Hashtag keep Bradley safe. One last announcement, go to the site, pleasedoyourjob.com. We need 2,500 more signatures to get a case reopened. That's pleasedoyourjob.com. I have a return guest. I am proud to have Phillip Simon back on my podcast. He was last on season 5, episode 17 and episode 18, where we had talked about him being falsely imprisoned within his own home. We talked about a false DVRO and a family court trying to force him into bankruptcy, which is finally happening through Judge Sharon L. Kalemkiarian. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but welcome back, Phillip Simon. I'm so sorry to hear this news for a veteran going through this right before Veterans Day on Friday.
Yeah, see, I think it feels like it was a setup to be like this. I mean, that's the way everything is working out. I think they've known for a long time. For 3 years, I've been trying to get them to do some things. Now, all of a sudden, 3 years pass. Now they're in the modes where they can start doing some things, although those things are specifically against everything that I'm doing. So at this point, she finally clarified her orders. Last time I was here, I think I mentioned that basically she was saying that my VA disability is community property. However, it was not community property for me because she thought I retired. So we clarified that. And she said she didn't care either way. She literally said it doesn't matter. I'm not changing my mind. I'm not changing my orders. So basically, she acknowledged what I've been trying to fight for 3 years by saying that the VA disability is not community property. She finally acknowledged it and came back on the scene with saying, well, it doesn't affect you because you retired. Well, lo and behold, in a hearing last week, a hearing that we shouldn't have even had, an exclusive use hearing, which is only supposed to be under in California, the Domestic Violence Protection Act. And this hearing was already denied back in February of 2022. The judge at that time, Judge Woods, denied it because the person who brought it up, I'm not married to. She's not in the family law matter with me. She just was a joint. She's not my wife.
Right.
A year later, this judge allows him to bring it up without even making a motion. There was no motion created for the exclusive use hearing. She made the motion on the tails of their objection to the tentative orders. So she did tentative orders and she gave both parties a chance to object to the tentative orders. Well, in their objection, they brought up exclusive use, which they can talk about, but the judge can't put it on the calendar and schedule a hearing because they talked about it, because there's no official motion. So on the register of action, instead of calling it an exclusive use hearing, they changed it and started calling it a evidentiary hearing, trying to play the word games. so they can get away with certain things. Where I was like, no, call it what you guys were calling it, exclusive use.
Mhm.
And the problem is she granted it this time. And several things that's wrong with it is she said that she was going to give me 2 days. And then she changed it and said, I'll give you to the ninth. Well, the ninth is my motion for reconsideration for the characterization of the house. So if you were to deal with the characterization of the house, you would never have the exclusive use. So she's putting the cart before the horse and then refusing to change anything to fix it. So she basically told me in my face that she's not changing her motion. The motion to reconsider, she's already made up her mind. Before we even have the hearing, she's telling me, I'm not changing my mind. So we're just wasting your time. And oh, by the way, that's the date I'm assigning the orders that kick you out your house. The
So
day before.
you got in there and she said, I'm not changing my mind.
Yes, I'm not changing my mind. She's bold. It's like she knows what most people don't know. A judge in this day and age have a high level of discretion. They're not supposed to. They have canons and laws that they're supposed to be governed by,
Mhm.
but some judges are rogue. And they're I think they're ringers and they're put in for that reason to be rogue because the people only go before her is people with high conflict cases. And you only have a high conflict case when you're having two or more when you have to have a trial or a hearing that's 2 or more days, then they consider it a high conflict. Not all the time, but a lot of times. But the problem is, if you have a certain judge that you're always sending those people to, then it's kind of like she's the closer. She's just put on there to just close out the cases to get rid of people. And she don't care how she orders. Chances are she's going to order against one party very hard. And in this case, like I said, I've proven all the way in March 2023 of this year, she was out of her jurisdiction for this hearing. I've told her several times. I've proven it to her through official transcripts. But however, if nobody outside of her courtroom is even hearing this, it's just controlled in her little world. So no matter what argument motions I bring up, if it's just in her world, it's not going to go anywhere. And that has been the problem. And I think this time around, she really called on it because when we were in the hearing, she pretty much told me she knows that I didn't retire. She doesn't care. She's going to put forth to kick me out the house. She even mentioned that she says the court is not going to speculate as to the respondent's fear of bankruptcy or his belief that the house will be foreclosed on. Today, this morning, I had to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. She's forced me into the thing that I've been saying they've been trying to do all along. So this is not, I'm not, we're not, I'm not, this is not, we're not at the stage where it's, oh, the world, oh me, oh my, this, that, whatever the case is. We're at a point now where literally you forced all the negative stuff. You said it was 50-50. I
Mhm.
mean, well, it's the house is supposed to be 50-50. 50% for the third party, 50% for me, and we're supposed to be having that issue handled in the civil court. There's a stay in the civil court right now for it. But however, the civil court kind of said, hey, we'll wait till the family court decides. The family court has decided to do the wrong thing to
Mhm.
keep it in there and add this person to it. And now they know that this person has no claim to it. But now you're still going to award that person a house. So they get to keep my veteran benefits on the house. I can't go use it again. They're trying to they basically said one person gets $760,000. I owe negative. How is it 50, 25, 25, and I come out with negative? Simple math doesn't even make sense in that. But that's just the same judge who denied us having a 730 evaluation. Talking about court referees, receivers. These are professional people that come in that's going to analyze the real estate, the documents. They do this. Uh, and she said, we don't want none of those people. Well, she said, I'll come up with the numbers myself.
Oh,
Yes, she said that. And she's done that. She's come up with the numbers herself.
and she's bad at
So
math, apparently.
apparently, so I had to file an appeal. And me filing an appeal, most judges would have been like, okay, let's stay this until that happens.
Right.
She said, nope, we're moving along. I'm trying to kick you out the house. We need to do this. So no, so I have two appeals going on. I just filed an appeal against her exclusive use. So I have two appeals for one judge in one case. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. Like I said, she's giving me till Thursday, which is 2 days from now. The issue with that is I have to file bankruptcy today. And it is our hope that bankruptcy will stay all the other civil matters and all the family court matters, all the other proceedings. I'm told that it should, but I wouldn't be surprised if this judge ignored it. She's done, we wouldn't be here now if she was doing the right thing. So I can't see her stopping to do the right thing even at this point. I think it's going to literally have to be a federal judge that's going to have to come in and say, "Hey, look, you need to stop. You're running rampant with what you're doing." In fact, I've I think I went above and beyond with proving how prejudiced and biased this whole judge is, and we shouldn't even be in her court or the family court. We shouldn't even be in the San Diego district anymore, jurisdiction anymore, off of everything that's happened with this case. All I've asked for, even at my federal case, all I've asked for is, hey, take away a DVRO that doesn't exist, that doesn't even make sense, and put this in a whole new jurisdiction. And I have 18 items on the federal docket, and I can't even get them to respond. In fact, had they responded to my federal injunction, she wouldn't have been able to do all the stuff she just did. But the federal court hasn't even stepped in. So it's our hope that the federal court will step in the way of the bankruptcy, because, like I said, there's fraud afoot. I'm only filing bankruptcy. I had to file bankruptcy because of the orders that this judge made. This judge made obviously prejudiced and biased, fraudulent orders, corrupt and fraudulent orders. Meaning that I'm not just saying fraud because, I'm trying to make it stick. I mean, to even come up here, there was a whole bunch of all the elements to make up fraud has been checked off in what's going on with this case. And like I said, I wouldn't have to file a bankruptcy had she not made her orders. And she made it clear during the exclusive use she wasn't changing her orders. When she identified that I didn't retire, she said, "I don't care." When she identified that, yes, you have a motion to reconsider coming up, but I'm pretty much not changing my mind. So I had to file a bankruptcy because she's putting me in this position now. And now it's just a way. And funny enough, people at the courtroom was talking because I filed today the motion to stay. I filed the bankruptcy today. Then I took that, I coupled it with a cover sheet for a state to stay the proceedings, further proceedings, and I went to my various cases and dropped them off where they needed to go. Wouldn't you know, the attorney who's representing the other side filed she called it. So this is how crazy it is. They never submitted a motion for the exclusive use hearing. However, on the register of action, they called it an evidentiary hearing. And instead of calling it that, purposefully, the attorney put restraining order after hearing. We didn't have a restraining order after hearing. We had an exclusive use. So she's purposely changing the name to try and make it seem worse than what it was, so they can have some kind of negative outcome. When I'm just going to tell whoever's if I hope the cops don't come. If the cops come, they're just going to have to arrest me, because I'm not going anywhere. This is my house. I shouldn't have to go anywhere. I didn't do anything. The judge is literally basically saying she can't be saying I violated my restraining order, because I never violated my restraining order. In fact, like I said, they didn't even bring it up in the trial. They waited till the objection to the tentative orders to bring up the exclusive use. So in their trial brief, they could have brought it up. They never even talked about it in the trial brief. So this judge is just clearly just doing something to kick me out. She just clearly went rogue and said, without a motion, I'm just going to put a hearing on the calendar, and then I'm going to just hammer you down and have you removed. And oh, by the way, the person who brought the hearing forth is technically not your wife, and you shouldn't even be having so basically you're allowing her to win punitive damages in a family court. You don't have punitive damages in family court. And this judge is just giving her the carte blanche to have punitive damages against me. And she's literally like I said, she's bankrupt me. She literally gave everything that I worked for to build up this nest egg and said, "Here you go, lady, who you're not married to him," and give it to him. When, if that's the way she wanted it to happen, it should have happened in a civil court, not a family law matter. And this judge has gone out her way continuously to just ignore the jurisdiction that she doesn't have, to violate my due process rights, my civil rights. She, like I said, she told me in my face for my motion that's going to happen on the 9th. Imagine that you told everybody you're going to kick me out on the 9th. You said respondent has until 11/9/2023 to find alternative lodging. What, all my 90% of my money goes to the litigating stuff. So she thinks I have money that I don't have. She's purposely causing my litigation to go up and then telling me to go find somewhere. And we live in a high price area. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And their goal was to take the house from me so they can say, oh, the mother has the house. So the kids can go with the mother. Hopefully hopefully the bankruptcy will kind of put a stay on all of that kind of stuff. She keeps saying that she gives them 120 days to refinance the house. What happened to the 3 years before that? Like they literally had 3 years before that to do something with the house, and now all of a sudden you're going to force the sale of the house when Judge Woods himself said he couldn't force the sale of the house. So what legal measure changed between Judge Woods and this judge that now all of a sudden she could do all the things that he couldn't do? So what we're waiting to see if the court is going to respond to the now restraining order after hearing, when we didn't even have a restraining order after. See that? So now that's a whole motion that's put on the register of action that didn't even happen, but it's made to look worse than what it is now. So they can say, oh, well, this was a restraining. No, it wasn't a restraining order. It's exclusive use that you guys didn't even call exclusive use. You call it an evidentiary hearing.
Gosh.
So the judge is making up stuff now. Like literally, she's just making up stuff now. And I don't feel like citizens should have to follow fraudulent and illegal orders. I didn't feel like that in the military. If you had somebody giving you, illegal orders, unlawful orders, you don't have to follow. And I was telling any citizen that if they're giving you unlawful, illegal orders, and they're going to try, well, then you're going to have to arrest me, and then I'll continue. And at that point, a buddy of mine is saying you should be glad because now it becomes criminal, and you can really utilize the full weight of the law to get back at everybody who's been kind of messing you over through the criminal way. Because now, family court has a little bit of, good buddy, type feel, they working with each other, where it's like criminal is going to be a whole different thing. And now you can sue the city, the state, the county, because it would be an unlawful arrest. And furthermore, it's not an emergency.
Right.
And the worst part about it is she basically says the court is concerned that the children were exposed to the repeated calls to law enforcement. In addition, the court is concerned about their exposure to marijuana smoke, although the respondent testified that petitioner also smokes marijuana. However, the third-party claimant did not complain about the excessive marijuana smoke used by the mother. So it's only a problem if the father who uses it, who, by the way, has PTSD at 100%, who is, I have my doctors, on board. They got signatures. I got cards. I got whatever you need to, my medical stuff to prove everything that I'm doing. But that's not enough. And to mean to tell me I'm a protected party too. I have a DVRO against her as well. So if she violates, can I not call the cops now when she violates? So you telling me she can violate, and if I call the cops, I get in trouble. So what kind of message would I had a family law facilitator look at these orders today, and she said, to me, she was like, this is bullcrap. She was like, first of all, this is just general minutes. She said the state should help you out because technically the judge said, I'm going to sign them on the 9th. Well, the state went in today. She tried to sneak in these false, what she's calling restraining order after hearing, order protection, DVR stuff. She's trying to submit that in today, but technically the court is not supposed to sign them now because the state went in before that, before she's supposed to sign that. So if she signs that now, she's going against the federal court. And, that's kind of, I don't know how that's going to work out, but
she needs to be off the bench like yesterday.
Oh, I got other info. Like I said, I proved, she called me a liar and said I didn't have a federal case against her. And I had to show her in her face where I brought the complaint to her. And not only that, I said, not only are you in the complaint, the opposition that I'm going against is in the complaint. And you're still trying to have trial over me. Like, are you serious? Like, are you like you really serious now? Like you think this is like this you can get away with this? And maybe some people would have went away, but this is too blatant to me. I'm like, this is like you're not gonna, I can't back down. You're purposefully doing this for, like I said, fraudulent actions taken to force bankruptcy, violation of the California Code of Judicial Ethics from all the judges, violation of my civil rights, and failure to observe my due process. That's really what's going on in this entire situation right now. And the judge should be off the bench. She should not be doing this anymore. Because if she's doing this to me, I would think that I would have to go back and investigate every case that she was a part of.
You'd have to. You'd have to
Because this is bigger than me. This is when you think about the taxpayer citizens. Look at what she's costing the citizens to do all of this. All of this is the burden for the people, and she's putting all for unnecessary litigation. All this unnecessary litigation, and it's to the point to where you're not even hiding it anymore. You don't even use case law. You don't you just say all kind of stuff, and it's just like status was not taken. Petition returns that the court will take status on the 9th. So uh, or effective November 9th. Yeah. So basically, said these orders will be attached to the amended DV 130 prepared by attorney against respondent with a move out order effective 9 November. I'm like, I'm not moving out. I filed my stay. I'm not going anywhere. We gonna fight it out. We'll be here. You allowed them to lie. She allowed them when we were in the hearing, the fake exclusive use hearing. The attorney got to question her clients, and when it was my turn to question her clients, the judge kept cutting me off. And when I would tell the judge, "Hey, judge, you just said I can talk," she was like, "Well, I can manage my own courtroom." So basically, she never gave me a chance to even question them. She was real tight, and she got upset because I told her, I can't speak for any other courtroom outside of San Diego for right now, but all the courtroom proceedings are recorded. How do you think when certain cases, if you have a belligerent person who curses the judge out and goes crazy, the court is quick to say, well, no, we got video of you doing this on this day. Look at you. You did this. You called it. Look at all this. You called the judge. So they can find it for those issues. But when it's reversed and the people need it, all of a sudden there's no video to be fat. But you can get it. All you have to do is go request it from the sheriff's department. They have to give you audio video of the proceedings. You give them the time, the date. You should know all of that, the case, and they can go find it for you and download it and give you a copy of that proceeding. The judge was like, "You can't do that. You can't." I was like, "Ma'am, you can." "No, you can't. This is not recorded." I'm like, "See, I don't know about that." I'm like, "It's probably a lot that you don't know about."
Mm-hmm.
But you can do you record that. I said, "Ma'am," and I said, "Think back. You pretty much left yourself exposed. You said a lot of stuff. I can get a lot of video on you where you're gonna look like you're crazy. People, I mean, they're gonna look like this judge is trying to lose her job." And she was like, "Oh, so you don't trust me? I can go get all of that." And so I'm like, like what I said, she's probably a ringer, a judge that was hired to do this for a short amount of time, maybe. And then they knew they were going to get rid of her because she was going to end up getting in trouble, or somebody was going to be bold enough to try and take it all away. I'm hoping that if I'm not the first, I'm willing to work with anybody in the California area that got dirt with her, dirt on her. I've been working with Carrie Barr. She called me today, matter of fact, to just tell me that she was sad to hear this judge made, these orders like this. She's like it's very improper. You're making obvious prejudice and bias. First of all, the day the court allowed them to come back into the house, that was back in 21. You pretty much set in motion that anything happens is going to be in their favor. I was the veteran who called the DVRO and the kick out on them.
Mm-hmm.
You kicked them out. You gave them restraining orders. Then you let them back in with the restraining orders. You dropped 2 of the restraining orders. You kept 1. Then you give me a restraining order. And then you keep us in the house together, locked all the way for this amount of time. And here we are. And now all of a sudden you get to 3 years out. Now was all of a sudden you're saying, oh, the claimant is suffering intense anxiety. What about me? I can show you where I'm showing I have stress too, but you're not interested in. You're just trying to kick me out. You don't even care. So,
And
you know,
here you are, a veteran that has served our country, and this is how this low budget judge is treating you right
yes,
before Veterans Day.
yes. She doesn't care. I don't even think it's in her mind. You know, she, like I said, she's made it clear that she doesn't care about justice or anything. I'm a little upset because, like I said, I have 18 items on the federal docket. It feels like the federal court is slow rolling their involvement when they could have stopped a great. I had to. I'm bankrupt now because the federal court didn't step in at all the times they could have stepped in and done anything to slow this roll. And it's so much now to where even if they thought I didn't have fraud, which I did have fraud, there's no question about it now. I didn't retire. Veterans disability is not community property. You're kicking me out for somebody who doesn't even have a claim to the house and a person that I didn't even marry. This whole case should have been tried in the civil court. And you're purposely keeping it in the family court so you could pass these underhanded laws, knowing that, but so I'm everybody, I keep saying everybody, but a lot of people that I'm working with saying, hey, things are going to be different. You got it in the bankruptcy court. This is not Mickey Mouse court. This is not clown court. They operate a little bit different. You'll see that, and remember, they're going to they can't do anything in their court for protection. They got to go petition to the federal court just like I did. Mm-hmm. So they was like, they're going to find out this is not going to be that the game that they were able to play for this long is about to come to an end. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. So they're just like, just keep holding on. This was probably filing so I would have filed a bankruptcy years ago if I didn't have faith that the judge or the system was going to do the right thing at some point. I kept having faith in the system that something in the system would work for me because, it's logic, it's critical thinking, and it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. So it ultimately forced me into a position where I'm broke. I'm broke. So to give clarification to that, we bought a house for $1.34 million in 2018. I was able to raise through hard work and effort. I was able to raise the value of that house from 1.3 all the way to 2.8. We have over $1 million in equity in the house right now. And the judge said, I'm making orders that strip all of it from you. So you don't get any of it. You're bankrupt. You're negative now. So I had to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and all because of the judge's orders to take away with no evidence, just doing everything wrong, just doing her own thing in her own court. And I have appeals. I'm told those are going to be stayed now because of the bankruptcy.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But either way, I know when you look at the appeal, it's going to be procedurally, legally, I should win the appeal easy because she is a procedural mess. What they did, we should have never had. She should, in March of last year, she should have recused herself.
Oh yeah, long time ago.
When she realized that she didn't have jurisdiction over the case, and when the other side said she didn't have a claim to the house, at that point she should have recused herself. But she kept fighting it. Why? Kept causing us money. Why? Kept causing the taxpayers money. Why? Why is she doing this? And she thinks she's doing everything correct, but
Oh yeah, it's in her own little world. I think she needs a psychological evaluation.
Yeah, 7:30.
Yeah.
The same she denied me from having with the house. If we would have had a 7:30 evaluation, all these things with the house that I'm talking about, anybody who's bought a house, this house buying 101, you easily know it doesn't take 15 minutes to refinance the house. It's just 15 minutes. You can call a banker and get pre-approved and find out if you can buy a house. Mm-hmm. How many 15 minutes can you fit into 3 years? And now she's wanting to give them another 120 days. And then she's saying, if you don't do it, I'm going to force the seller of the house. Well, you can't force the seller of the house because you don't have the jurisdiction to do so. You can't force the seller of the house just because you gave all of everything to her and tried to exclude me out of it. In fact, that's what I'm hoping the bankruptcy court will see, that, hey, technically he wouldn't even be filing a bankruptcy. This is fraud. He wouldn't even be filing a bankruptcy charge if it wasn't for your fraud orders. So your fraudulent orders forced him to file bankruptcy. So I'm hoping that, some kind of light will kind of gleam in from somewhere to help me out in that regard.
Well, I'm going to follow your case because I'd like to have you back on again.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't know what, when you file a stay, people might not know what that is. It just means that you're filing a document that will hopefully stop the stupidity for a period of time.
Yes. In all cases that you have, or whatever legal matters that you have going on, it's supposed to just put it on hold so you can deal with this one thing right now, which should have happened when I filed the appeal. The appeal most times should stay most things. You'll read literature that'll tell you most appeals stay things, but judges have the discretion. Well, why wouldn't the judge use the natural discretion to stay it unless they're trying to screw you over? So she's never stayed anything. She's been trying to roll it over the whole time. And when they realize, okay, we think we have him, now we're going to try and flip it and take away his kids. Because that's all this is. You're trying to take away my kids.
Mm-hmm.
If you take away the house, you'll say, oh, you don't have a house. So that the mother gets the kids because she gets the house. Now you can go be homeless. What? Or are you like you thought I'm just gonna, I don't know. I'm not cut from that crowd. I'm not about to just go out like that. So here we are. I gotta keep fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I know I said a lot, but I'm kind of a little peeved because I see how they're changing the word game. It went from an evidentiary hearing, what they call it, an exclusive use hearing, to putting an evidentiary hearing on the record, and then changing it up to a restraining order after hearing when it was never about the restraining orders at all. So you're crafting and secretly drafting documents. And I'm one of those people that I follow the register of actions closely every day. It's been a part of my life. I watch, just like I, check out my email. I check out the register of action every day to see what little things somebody's doing in my case and I've caught them several times. I have a record. I can literally write a book myself on the things that are taking place between the clerks, the bailiffs, the judges, things that, they probably wouldn't want people knowing, the secret notes that's passed in family law, and I'm tracking all of it. It would have been easier for them just to say, hey, let that fish go. But nope, they tried to hold on. Well, now we're gonna go all the way there.
Well, I'm sorry all of this is happening, but I'm glad you came on to explain what's happening, because we kind of saw this coming, but really right before Veterans Day, and you've served our country. And this is how a judge with too much power, out of control, and should be off the bench.
I think so. I agree. And I filed a complaint with the Judicial Committee on this judge and several other judges, and they said, we got 90 days to get back to you. So I know what it's going to be. They're going to have some boilerplate, response. We didn't see such and such. Well, I know you're lying because, either you're lying or our Constitution doesn't mean anything anymore. It's one or the other. And if we still have a Constitution, then you're lying.
Well, if anyone has any questions, how can you be reached?
Reach me at my Gmail, Phillip Simon, PhillipSimon 56 at gmail.com.
Okay. Don't jump off. Okay. Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these family courtrooms. I'm your host, Marianne Petrie, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth, and Raised by These Wolves, How Family and Federal Courts Are Failing Our Children. Please join us again here with Phillip in the future and other exciting guests. Thank you so much, Phillip, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And you'll be back.
Yes.